Most people are playing games. They just don't know it. The job you go to every morning? A game. The loan you took for a car you didn't need? A game. The lifestyle you're maintaining to impress people who don't care about you? A game. And here's the part that should disturb you. You didn't choose to play these games. Someone else chose them for you. The system, the marketing, the culture, the people around you. And as long as you keep playing their games, you will keep losing. Because the house always wins. Machiavelli understood something most philosophers refuse to admit. The world is not fair. It is not kind. And it does not reward effort.
So today, we are going to talk about the only 7 games that actually matter. Not the games society taught you. Not the ones your school prepared you for. The real games. The ones the wealthy play quietly, deliberately, and almost invisibly. These are not shortcuts.
Before we get into the 7 games, you need to understand one thing clearly. Wealth is not a destination. It is a position. Most people treat money like a finish line. They think, if I just make enough, I'll finally be okay. But the wealthy don't think about a finish line. They think about position. How do I position myself so that money flows toward me instead of away from me? How do I position myself so that time works for me instead of against me? This is the fundamental shift. And the 7 games we are about to break down are all about positioning. Not income, not luck, not even hard work. Position. Machiavelli spent his entire life studying men in power. And what he found was not that powerful men were smarter or stronger. What he found was that they understood the terrain. They knew.
Game 1. The information game. Here is a cold truth most people never confront. The reason you are not wealthy is not because you don't work hard enough. It is because you don't know what the wealthy know. Information is the most unevenly distributed resource on the planet. And the gap between what the top 1% knows and what the average person knows is not small. It is enormous. Think about this. A wealthy investor hears about a distressed real estate market 6 months before the news covers it. A connected entrepreneur knows which industry is about to receive government funding before the public does. A Machiavellian thinker understands human psychology well enough to predict how people will behave before they even make a decision. This is not insider trading. This is not conspiracy.
Machiavelli himself was a student of history, human nature, and political mechanics at a level most people in his era simply refused to engage with. He read everything. He observed everything. He wrote everything down. And that information became power. So here is the question you need to ask yourself honestly. What do I know that is genuinely valuable? Not what you learned in school. Not what your employer taught you just enough of to keep you useful. What do you know that most people don't? Because that gap, that information asymmetry, is where wealth is created. The wealthy invest in information the way the average person invests in entertainment. Books over Netflix, mentors over influencers, patterns over noise. Information is not just power, it is leverage. And leverage is how one person can do what 100 people cannot.
Game 2. The perception game. Here is something uncomfortable. The world does not reward what you are. It rewards what it believes you are. Perception is not shallow. It is not superficial. Perception is currency. Think about why a man in a suit gets taken more seriously than the same man in a t-shirt, even if their intelligence is identical. Think about why a business with a premium-looking brand
can charge 3 times more than a better product with poor packaging. Think about why certain people walk into a room and everyone listens before they say a single word. None of this is about reality. All of it is about perception. Machiavelli was brutally clear about this. He said it is not necessary for a prince to have all the virtues, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. Most people read that and think it means be fake. That is not what it means. It means understand that the world operates on perception first.
So, how do you play the perception game without losing yourself? You control your signal. What do people feel when they encounter you? What do they assume about your competence, your value, your worth before you open your mouth? Because those assumptions determine opportunities, partnerships, deals, salaries. The wealthy understand that they are always broadcasting a signal, and they are intentional about what that signal says. Not by being flashy, not by performing status, but by carrying themselves with deliberate calm, precision, and confidence that says, I do not need your approval. That energy alone changes how the world responds to you. And when the world responds differently, opportunities appear that were always there, but invisible to you before. Perception shapes reality. Master your signal. Master your outcomes.
Game 3, the patience game. This is the game most people lose before it even begins. We live in a world that worships speed, instant results.
They pull their money out at the first sign of a dip. They spend the savings account when something shiny appears. They abandon the long game because someone else appears to be winning faster. And that impatience is the single biggest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. Because the rich are buying what the impatient are selling. Every market crash, every panic, every wave of short-term fear, the patient ones are accumulating, while the impatient ones are retreating. Warren Buffett said it better than anyone. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. That is not just about stocks. That is about every game worth playing. Businesses take time. Skills take time. Relationships that produce real opportunity take time. The patience game is the game that filters out everyone who doesn't deserve to win. Are you willing to be one of the few who stays?
Game 4, the network game. You have heard it before. Your network is your net worth. But most people hear that and think it means collect as many LinkedIn connections as possible, or attend every networking event in the city. That is not the network game. The real network game is about depth, not width. It is about being the kind of person that other powerful people want to know. Machiavelli was obsessed with alliances. He studied how princes rose and fell based almost entirely on who they chose to align with. And what he found was this: the right 5 relationships can do more for your wealth than 20 years of hard work alone. Not because those people will hand you money, but because they will hand you information, opportunity. And whether your name gets said or not depends entirely on the relationships you have built. But here is where most people get the network game wrong. They approach relationships transactionally. What can this person do for me? People feel that energy immediately, and they close off. The Machiavellian approach to networking is different. You lead with value. Always. Before you ever ask for anything, you become someone who contributes something. Information, connections, solutions, perspective. You make yourself useful to people who are where you want to be. And over time, that creates a gravity. People start pulling you into their circles, not because you asked,
but because you belong there. The network game is a long game, but it compounds faster than almost anything else. Because one right relationship can change the entire trajectory of your financial life in a single
Game 5, the leverage game. This is where the wealthy separate themselves from everyone else. Most people trade time for money. They show up, they work, they get paid, they go home. And the brutal truth is that there is a ceiling to how much time you have. You cannot work more than 24 hours a day, which means if you only trade time for money, you will always hit a ceiling. The wealthy don't just trade time for money. They deploy leverage. Leverage is when your money works while you sleep. Leverage is when your systems earn while you rest. Leverage is when other people's skills, time, and effort compound your own output. Machiavelli understood leverage as a military concept. A prince who relied only on his own sword was limited. A prince who built alliances, armies, and systems could project force far beyond what any single man could do. Wealth works the same way.
There are 4 types of leverage that matter. Money leverage, your capital working in markets, real estate, or businesses. People leverage, teams, employees, contractors amplifying what you can produce. Systems leverage, automations, processes, frameworks that run without you. And media leverage, content, ideas, and knowledge that reach thousands of people while you are doing something else entirely. This channel is an example of media leverage. This video continues working long after it is uploaded. Every view is compounding the reach of these ideas without requiring more of my time. That is leverage. And the question you need to ask right now is this: am I building leverage, or am I just building busyness? Because most people mistake activity for progress. They are busy all day, every day, and still broke at the end of every month. Busyness without leverage is just sophisticated poverty.
Game 6, the risk game. Here is something the average person gets completely wrong about risk. They think avoiding risk is safe. It is not. Avoiding risk is one of the most dangerous financial decisions you can make. Because while you are protecting yourself from the risk of losing, you are guaranteeing yourself the risk of staying exactly where you are. Machiavelli had no patience for timid men. He believed that fortune, the force of circumstance, favors the bold. Not the reckless, the bold. There is a critical difference. Reckless risk is uninformed and emotional. Bold risk is calculated, studied, and deliberate. The wealthy play the risk game by doing one thing most people never learn to do. They separate risk from uncertainty. Risk is something you can measure, model, and prepare for. Uncertainty is the unknown that exists in every situation.
Think about what the truly wealthy have in common. Rockefeller took massive calculated risks in oil when most people thought it was unstable. Bezos left a high-paying Wall Street job to start an online bookstore that everyone around him thought was absurd. Every wealthy person you can name took a risk that most people around them would never have taken. But what made those risks different from recklessness was preparation. They did not jump blindly. They studied the terrain, they calculated the downside,
Game 7, the identity game. This is the final game, and it is the most important one, because every other game we have talked about, information, perception, patience, network, leverage, risk, all of them collapse if you don't win this one first. The identity game is simple to describe and brutally hard to master. You become who you believe yourself to be, not who you want to be, not who you pretend to be, who you deeply, internally,
unconsciously believe yourself to be. Most people carry an identity that was given to them by their upbringing, their environment, their past failures. I'm not good with money. Rich people are just lucky. I don't have what it takes. These are not truths. They are programs, installed by experiences you had before you were old enough to question them.
Machiavelli believed that men are shaped by their circumstances only if they allow themselves to be. The man who understands power understands that he can reshape himself. He can choose a new identity and build behavior that matches it until that identity becomes real. This is not motivational fluff. This is psychology. Your brain is constantly looking for evidence that confirms who you believe you are. If you believe you are bad with money, your brain will find evidence of that everywhere. It will make decisions that confirm the belief. It will sabotage progress to stay consistent with the identity. But if you shift the identity, the behavior shifts. Let me give you an example. Two people read the same book about investing. One person thinks, "This is interesting. Maybe one day I'll try this." The other person thinks, "This is how I think now. This is who I am." A year later, one person has done nothing. The other has started, failed, adjusted, and is building something real. Same information, different identity. That is the entire game.
Wealthy people. Now let's bring all 7 games together, because understanding them individually is not enough. The real power is in how they compound each other. The information game gives you knowledge that others don't have knowledge. The perception game ensures that knowledge is taken seriously. The patience game means you don't burn it all chasing speed. The network game multiplies your reach and access. The leverage game means your effort produces exponential output. The risk game means you move when others freeze. And the identity game is the foundation that holds all 6 in place. Remove any one of these, and the structure weakens. You can have the best network in the world, but if your identity says you don't deserve success, you will sabotage every opportunity. You can have brilliant information, but without patience, you will act too early.
But here is the truth behind that effortlessness. It took years of deliberate practice. Years of losing small to avoid losing big. Years of building identity while the results were invisible. Years of planting seeds that most people said would never grow. Machiavelli spent years in exile, stripped of his position, his influence, his power. And what did he do? He wrote, he studied, he prepared. He played every one of these games in his mind.
So let me ask you something directly. Of these 7 games, which one are you losing right now? Be honest. Is it the information game? Are you consuming the wrong inputs, letting entertainment crowd out education? Is it the perception game? Are you undervaluing how you present yourself and the signal you send to the world? Is it patience? Are you chasing fast results and abandoning long-term positions the moment they get uncomfortable? Is it the network game? Are you surrounded by people who reflect where you've been rather than where you're going? Is it leverage? Are you still trading every hour for every rupee with no system working while you sleep? Is it risk? Are you playing it safe in ways that...
The good news is this. You do not have to win all 7 games immediately. You just have to pick one. The one that, if you fixed it, would change everything else downstream. For most people, that game is identity. Because once you fix who you believe yourself to be, the other games become easier to enter. For others, it is information. Because they are making every financial decision in the dark and wondering why things keep going wrong. Find your weakest game. Strengthen it. Then find the next one.
It was never luck.
It was information gathered while others were entertained.
It was perception built, while others were invisible. It was patience maintained, while others were panicking. It was a network cultivated, while others were isolating. It was leverage built, while others were staying busy. It was risk taken, while others were hiding. And it was an identity chosen, while others were waiting to be chosen. That is the game. All 7 of them, running simultaneously, quietly, patiently, powerfully. Now you know. The question is what you do with it. Most people will watch this, feel something shift, and then go back to playing the wrong games. A few will not. Decide which one you are.